Welcome to Port St. Lucie and lesson 6 of the Bernanke Macroeconomics Part 1 course. Tonight's lesson 6, we're going to examine 3 key principles, mostly about spending more money than you have. The principle of learning how to stay within your budget is a really good idea. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to learn that yet in the United States. So let's see how China and other countries deal with their GDP and budgets. First, let's go over these 3 principles that Bernanke clearly illustrates in his book. The first principle is national savings. Well, what are national savings? Well, national savings are what the average family saves in one fiscal year from their combined salaries. And in the United States, the average American family saves approximately 7.6% of their income, according to Google. And I guess, that's the best we can do under the circumstances because we have so many expensive things to pay for, like healthcare and education and medical, well, that's part of healthcare. But in any event, we have a lot of things to pay for, and they're expensive in the United States. So American families save 7.6%. How much do Chinese families save of their income? Well, the answer is 25%, and that's more than 3 times what American families save from their income. And why is this important? Well, it's important because that when we get to the second principle, national spending, you can't spend what you don't have. Or in the United States, actually, you can spend what you don't have. That's called credit. And then you have to pay interest and then compound interest, which we explained in our last lesson. So what China does is the Chinese families save their 25% a year, and then the Chinese government also follows very sound and strict budgetary policies, and they don't spend more money than they have, ever. They have a surplus. This surplus means that they have no national debt. Whatever they do borrow, they pay back very quickly and the very minimal amount of interest because they do not want to pay interest. They want to get rid of the debt and pay it right away, which is what we do if we are financially responsible in the United States. We get our monthly credit card and we pay it off every month on time completely. We don't carry any balances. And that's what China does. They don't carry any balance forward. They pay it right away every month. So what this means is that not only the United States, but there's several other countries that just have not learned this principle of paying off their debt in a timely manner, and then they incur interest and then compound interest, and the debt just builds up. That's the first effect of not saving money. First of all, the American families don't save the money in the first place, and then to compound the problem, American politicians overspend the budget and create national debt. So these are 2 very bad economic variables for the American public to carry as a burden. The third principle is how does this affect the economy? Well, the way it affects the economy is that if you do carry national debt and your GDP is only 2% a year, as it is in the United States, then you have very little wiggle room to make improvements in anything. If you want to do climate control, or if you want to do maybe a different form of energy, or a different form of maybe healthcare, you don't have any money to spend on it because you only created a 2% profit for the year. And most of that profit is going to pay for compound interest for the national debt. So it's a vicious cycle that the United States has not figured out how to get rid of, and they're going to wind up suffering for it for several decades, unless something unusual happens, like learning how to be fiscally responsible. So, in any event. Well, what does this mean for our economy? Well, we have very little, wiggle room. We can't invest in things. Whereas China has an average growth of 7% or greater for their GDP because their families save 25% of their money. And so this allows the Chinese government to invest far, far more money than the United States in things like the Belt and Road Initiative and other things that they need to build, like the dams and other national projects. So this means that the Chinese have 3 times as much money to invest because they save 3 times as much money. It's proportional. If you save 3 times as much money, you're going to have 3 times as much money to invest in the future. And so China has this surplus. They have a surplus every year, and we have a deficit every year. And unfortunately, if we continue doing that, we'll never be able to compete with Chinese investments. That's just the way the numbers, look on paper to me. Hopefully they will change, but it doesn't look very good. So this is Professor Tefero from Port St. Lucie, wishing you a happy and healthy night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.